Hello and welcome back to the Weekend Spread. It's a Schooner Pod's weekly pick'em show. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me, we've got Jameson Maxwell, Bolton Blake, and still sitting in first place, old Ty Lee. So just running down the standings. Look, it's been a rough year. Uh, I was looking at some old graphics from last year, and I came across our standings, and it almost brought me a tear because we were all just doing so much better, but we're doing our best here. So currently in the lead, we got Ty at 25 and 29, 3-7 week last week. Bowden Blake not too far behind at 22 and 31. After just a nice solid 500 week. Jameson with a strong performance. He's at 20 and 34 after going 7 and 4 last week. And then I'm in last at 19 and 34, 5 and 5. So just a brutal season for all of us. But Jameson, how did it feel to finally get a little bit of glory after, being in the cellar for so long?
Nope, didn't matter. I gave the kiss of death to Texas State. I did it. I'm a horrible person. They were up 22-0 in the first, and they blew it and lost because I picked them in the weekend spread. I do this every year, guys. It's really bad, and y'all warned me, and I continue to do it. It's just so bad. This is so bad.
And you were talking a little bit of smack in that group chat about how good Texas Boko was looking.
Hey, Dan, they look good, okay?
You didn't go fully like guaranteeing wins and stuff like that, but it borderline into that curse territory, that jinx territory right there.
It was bad. I had a patient today come in, and they're just talking like, "Oh, I'm from Texas." I'm like, "Oh, where about?" And they're like, "Oh, I went to college in San Marcos, at Texas State." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I know San Marcos." I'm like, "Boko the Bobcat." And he goes, "Wait, how do you know that?" And I'm like, "I know things." Like, do you have time for me to tell you about the whole history of the weekend spread?
Oh, that's funny. Ty still in the lead. Bit of a rough week for you. You and Jameson kind of flip-flopped there a little bit, but that's why you build up a little bit of a cushion so you can survive those kind of tricky weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just tanking to make it a little more interesting.
Hey, I respect it. You're helping out for the good of the pod. But look, we've had a lot of slates over the years. This is not one of the stronger ones, to say the least. Obviously, no OU. So, usually one of the best parts of bye weeks is getting to watch a bunch of good football games. This is not one of them. Next week should be pretty solid, but we have a bit of slop on the board. But Blake, I know you're excited about it because you love all sorts of college football, regardless of, prestige. So how are you feeling about it?
I'm definitely watching. I'll agree with you. I'll kind of meet in the middle. Like, this one is typically, I feel like, compared to other slates, this one's towards the bottom. And I feel like a lot of the national media typically, whenever the Power 5 slate is not looking too strong, usually there's some good G5 games, some good conference games starting up there. But really, we don't really have any of those this week. So this is pinning as just like an all-time bad one. But I'm hoping that it has the potential, maybe some upsets here. The sleepiest weekends, like, this sport never really goes without a weekend where something major doesn't happen. So I'm very excited for that. At least maybe some close games, keep it interesting watching. But yeah, I think you were downplaying next week's slate, though. Next week's slate might be an all-timer. That one is built up. So we could preview
it is
that
shaping
a
up. It's shaping up to be one of the greatest weekends in college football. Like, just from the eye test right now with all the numbers and everything, it looks like it's going to be a banger. So look, without further ado, let's just dive right into this. And we're starting with our first game, and this is how you know the slate is a little Syracuse 3-1 overall, 1-3 against the spread. They're heading into the desert to take on the UNLV Rebels, ranked 25th in the country, 4-0 overall and against the spread. The Runnin' Rebs favored by 6.5 here. You can find this one 2:30 p.m. No, I screwed the time up. You could not find this one 2 p.m. Central on. You can find it at night on FS1. That would be a
Friday.
On a Friday would be an all-time terrible time slot.
Friday in Vegas. Local Ty, who do you like in this battle between the Rebels and the Orange?
I don't like either of these. I know I've been seeing a lot of news about, I guess, Rats jumping ship at UNLV, so I don't really know if those were people who were playing or not. I think I'm 0-1 in picking both of these teams so far this year. So my best play is the kamikaze play, and that's to just jinx Blake's team by picking them. So go ahead and give me UNLV minus 6.5. This is just so that I tie my fate to his. I basically handcuff myself to him now.
Good thing you're in for an automatic W. I am wearing the
Okay,
UNLV
that's a jinx.
sweatshirt tonight. No, I feel so confident. Like the national media, UNLV finally gets some shine. And what is it about? Dumb Matt Saluka that wasn't even, he was a pretty bummy quarterback. He could run a little, but that man could not throw, leaving UNLV with a 43% completion rate. And all they could talk about is how much this team is going to go down, how they blew a chance at the playoff, that they finally got there. But you know what we were saying in the background? You know what the desert was saying? If there's really a dispute about $100,000 and this guy was good, they would have paid it. This guy wasn't good. They knew what they had with Haj Malik Williams, the Taj Mahal. He is fantastic. He looks sharp against a Fresno team, one that's typically prepared, has some good talent there. Mikey Keene has a good running game. UNLV's defense was able to stop that run. And UNLV was still able to run the ball even with the pass-first quarterback. They still gained over 252 yards. Sure, they weren't like lighting it up in the rushing attempts when they were doing like 40s, 50s, 60s the previous weeks, but they were pretty close to it. He doesn't throw bad passes. Like he threw for close to 200. So it wasn't lighting it up, but Ricky White having an over 100-yard game. He's finally getting, you could tell the vibes are strong there now that they're incorporating their best player. I think with a Friday night game that a lot of the eyes of America are going to be watching on, UNLV is going to put their marker on the map that it's going to be Boise and it's going to be UNLV racing to the finish here.
Bro, you saying Fresno's got a good team and you cite Mikey Keene as evidence? Like, get out of here.
Mikey Keene can sling the ball a little bit.
Bro, this run game's been anemic the whole year, too. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. But I really want to pick a hater pick for UNLV, but I can't because this team has looked so damn good. And I'm just going to say it. I was wrong. I thought that UNLV was not the team of UNLV last year. But this offense is so electric. It's so electric. And I just think at home here versus Syracuse, a team that lost to Stanford, which is a little bit red flag, even though I thought that they're showing some things here at the beginning of the season in terms of like having Kyle McCord. I think UNLV's offense is just, you can't keep up with it. They've got too many skilled players. Give me UNLV minus 6.5.
Yeah, I'm also in on the running Rebs. I feel like with everything going on with the controversy of the quarterback leaving and everything, a lot of people, I think, probably buried UNLV here, but if anything, I think it just lit a fire under them. They're a damn good team, and Syracuse with Kyle McCord and crew, I think they're running into a buzzsaw here. Just look at their against the spread numbers. They're not that great. So give me UNLV to cover 6.5. That is a sweep out in Vegas. Moving on to our next game. It's a rematch of the national championship, although it definitely does not feel like it on either side. Both of these teams, very different from the last time they met. It's the 10th ranked Michigan Wolverines, 4-1 overall, 1-4 against the spread. They're heading to Seattle to take on the Washington Huskies, who are 3-2 overall, 2-3 against the spread. Bit of a rocky start for both of these programs. UW favored by 2.5 here against the national champs, the defending national champs. You can find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on NBC and Peacock. Woof. That's not a dog pun, I promise. This is disgusting. Because I really don't back. I don't think Michigan is that good. And at the same time, I really think Washington has looked pretty poor. I think both of their losses are against sneaky, slightly decent teams. And, Rutgers isn't bad. Washington State has shown the ability to, pop off and have some good games. Yeah. Look, that line to me, Vegas knows something if they're favoring Washington. I know I mean, unranked at home, favored by 2.5. I'm going to go with the vibes here. I'm going to go with UW minus 2.5. I don't love either side of this, though. Michigan just looks like a liability. Washington has looked poor. But in this one, I think they both suck, honestly. So, Huskies.
Dude, I don't care if it looks fishy and you follow that line. Washington's looks so bad. Like, bad. And at least Michigan is starting to find something with Kalel Mullings here. They've realized, hey, Donovan Edwards, I don't care if you are on the cover of College Football 25, like you're not our best running back on this team. And since turning to Kalel Mullings, it seems like this offense has got a little bit more oomph in it. Obviously, there's still some questions on like how good this team is. Like you'd figure this defense would be able to stop Minnesota's offense from getting 21 points in that fourth quarter to making it an actual game at the end. I think that I just don't believe in Washington at all this year. I don't care if the line's funky. Give me Michigan.
This is an ultimate stay away. Like, I'm just going to watch this for whatever nasty Big Ten game this is going to be. Like, that's the funniest thing is, like, we thought with the addition of, like, USC, Washington, Oregon, that would kind of reinvigorate the slow style offenses, run heavy. I think we're going to see just a whole bunch of, like, run heavy offenses with two defenses that are pretty, like, Michigan's is actually good against the run. Washington's a little bit suspect, but they have shown that like that defense, besides that Washington State game, like played pretty well, even against Rutgers, kind of just keeping them at bay in the second half last week so they could try to come back and win it. But I'm going with the funkiness. I'm going with the revenge angle. I'm going to take Washington here. I don't feel confident. There's so many things I hate about this Michigan team, and I think it just makes me biased towards them that I'm automatically going to pick against them. Alex Orji, like he can run a little, but that man cannot throw. Like Minnesota is a horrendous team, and you're throwing still for less than 100 yards. Like there is a reason why Jerome Moore did not choose him as the starting quarterback coming out of camp, because they knew that he could not throw the ball. And Jameson said it perfectly. Donovan Edwards, like the most overhyped guy to get on the cover. He was a career backup behind Blake Corum, and he just had some flashy moments here or there, but never like he was supposed to be the next guy up. He was just an offensive line merchant. Like when they had that amazing Joe Moore winning offensive line the last 2 years, like they were like, that's fantastic, but Mullings is way better. I think this one's gross. I think this one's close. Comes down to a final field goal. Will Rogers. What a name I haven't heard in a very long time. In a system not
That's Will Rogers International Airport coming soon.
International Airport quarterback.
Mr. Worldwide himself. So I give me Washington, but stay away from this one. Don't
put me on an island here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Washington. They are stinky, and Michigan has burned me before, and they're worse against the spread, which to me just means that we're going to see a movement towards the average. So go ahead and give me Michigan. Michigan plus 2.5 here.
All right, there we go. We've got a split on that game. Moving on to the game, I'm just so happy that this is college game day. This makes me just thrilled. It's the number 8 Miami Hurricane, 5-0 overall, 3-2 against the spread after surviving a narrow, by the just slimmest margins victory against Vatek. They're heading 3,000 miles away to take on the Cal Golden Bears in a conference matchup. Cal 3-1 overall, 2-2 against the spread. They have sort of been social media darlings in the college football space here. Miami favored by 10. This line has been bet down a little bit. Find this game 10:30 p.m. Central. 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. So just an incredible incredible kickoff for those folks in Miami who no doubt will be watching the game instead of being at the clubs because, Miami folks, they love their football. Ty, kick us off here. Who do you like?
Yes, Miami's dozens of fans will be disappointed, but thankfully this benefits Cal's also dozens of fans. So this one is, to me, pretty clear cut. I think it makes sense that the line is moving down a little bit just because it did open a little bit bigger. But go ahead and give me the Hurricanes -10. I think they take care of business on game day. I understand they had some troubles against Voltech, but Voltech has been sneaky here and there for forever. And Miami, of course, never believed the Miami preseason hype. But we are no longer in preseason. We are in we're about to be mid-season really form here, and Miami's performed well. So go ahead and give me the Hurricanes -10
Bitcoin's
to take care of
down
business.
7.3% over
Yeah, but
the past
they're
5
not
days.
playing at home. They're not playing at home.
Oh, okay. I didn't know your reasoning.
Yeah.
But no. Now they're in Silicon Valley, so that might actually amplify.
Yeah, there's probably some other indicators there that we'll have to look at. There's certainly a lot of world events currently occurring that could greatly shift the price of Bitcoin, depending on what people press what buttons in what countries. Could certainly send Bitcoin spiking before the weekend. So,
Oh boy. That is not a matchup we'll be previewing on the weekend spread. Blake, who do you like in this game?
you want to talk about Alex Orgy's accuracy issues? Let's go ahead and turn the globe around halfway around the world.
Blake, who do you like in the ball game?
Yeah, this one sadly is pretty clear cut to me. I think there's only one side that's just going to dominate here. It's going to be Miami. I love the Cal Twitter stuff. I find their memes very funny. I find it to be the perfect use of AI. When I imagine AI image generators, instead of all the fake news trying to fake things, no, make funny memes and graphics to meme your opponents to death. But really what stands out to me about this Cal team is Justin Wilcox. He's a great defensive coach, but they have done fantastic on defense, but they've only played bad offenses this entire year. Auburn, we've seen week after week, not being able to move the ball, turning the ball over a lot. San Diego State is horrendous. Thank God, San Diego City. We don't even have to get them close to this podcast. I don't even have to fade them this year. They're that bad. I'm just gonna let them lie there and just ruin. They stink. Florida State. We know they're getting cranked by everybody. SMU beat them worse than TCU, and I'm not feeling very confident about this TCU team. So this defense has been feasting upon the poor, but Miami can really move the ball. And the thing that impressed me about last week, even though it was a close win, came down to the wire. That's typically the game Miami in the past would just roll over and just let the team beat them. But they kept fighting. Like, they were down majority of that game, just kept fighting, chipping away, coming back. I just feel like the vibes are a little bit different there. Cam Ward is by far the best quarterback this Cal team is going to see all year, let alone like what they've seen before. He's 5-6 times better than anything. So I'm just going to go extreme talent in a place that doesn't really scare me when it comes to game day environment in Cal. I'm going to take the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I think Cal is getting boosted more about like all of the hype they've got in social media and then this defense. But like Blake said, like, what are you going to say? San Diego State and Auburn's offense was not making them look even better. I think Miami is kind of toyed around, but you've seen it straight up. Like, that team, if they put their foot on the gas, they can really, really hurt somebody. I think Miami can roll here. Give me Miami -10.
Well, I mean, you all make really good points about everything, and I think maybe too much is being made out of Cal here, and some simpletons would take the bait given the Calgorithm and all of that, and this feels like a trendy pick, but at the same time I don't care. I'm going to go Cal +10. I feel like Miami really showed a little bit of you finally saw a little bit of cracks in what they have going with them. Cam Ward can be turnover prone, and if Cal can force turnovers on Ward, I feel like their pace of play, with Jaden Ott, Mendoza has been a very solid quarterback for them. I feel like they have enough to like kind of make this a sloppy, slow pace, grind it out type of game. Especially given the fact that Miami is traveling the way they are, that their internal clocks are going to be very off. the poor equipment squad is having to drive the entire distance. They had to leave on
that
Tuesday.
sucks. That sucks.
This feels like a game that would really suck to get to if you're Miami. And I don't know. I feel like we could see a bit of a lethargic Hurricanes team here at Cal Memorial Stadium. At the same time, this is Cal's biggest home game since the Deshaun Jackson, Marshawn Lynch days. Like, I think if the call to action is there and they do show up and this is a wild environment, then yeah, Miami might be walking into a bit of a snake pit here. I think the Hurricanes are good enough to win the game. I think they do, but I just think with everything going on, the travel, the energy at Cal, Jade not having a week to rest up, because Cal's been on a bye week. I just think that everything to me trends that I think Cal can cover the spread. I'm not going to go as far to say that they're going to win the ball game, but I don't see Miami breaking this thing open. So I'm going to go with Cal plus 10 as my pick. And look, I'm fine with that. Me and the Calgorithm against the world as an island boy. What could go wrong? So yeah, that's the pick. All right, moving on to our next one. Ooh, that is not correct. Moving on to our next one. It's this is just a stank Florida matchup here. It's a UCF 3-1 overall and against the spread, fresh off of a beatdown at home at the Bounce House against Coach Prime in Colorado. They're heading to the Swamp for the first time in, I wonder how long, to if ever, to take on the Florida Gators, who are also spiraling at the moment. Florida's 2-2, 1-3 against the spread. UCF is a 2.5-point favorite at home or on the road, which is crazy. You can find this one 6:45 p.m. Central on the ESPN network. This is a gross game. I have previously ridden with Florida in positions where I'm like, there's no way it gets worse at home, and it usually does. But I don't know. The home dog thing is appealing to me. But I just think UCF's favored for a reason. I think Florida is just this is Billy Napier's last stand, and I don't think he survives it. I think UCF can get up for this one. This is a big environment for them. Everyone at Florida does not. If you're a Gator fan, you can't. There's no way you're this excited. You're just merely trying to avoid getting embarrassed here. I think UCF has a chance for glory here. They're going to be fired up. I think they get the 2.5-point cover on the road. I know that sounds crazy, but I just can't trust this Florida team anymore. I have tried to trust them at home too many times, and I keep getting burnt. So UCF's the play.
I don't know, Bobby, because momentum shifting maybe away from UCF, as that Colorado game was bad. It was really, really bad. Like, what the hell happened there? KJ Jefferson, once again, did not look good. Threw 2 interceptions, and that defense just crumbled. I understand Colorado's got a good offense, but my God, that was absolute embarrassment for them. Florida, I understand they played Mississippi State, but, their offense looked like they strung something together, even with that 2 quarterback thing, only throwing 2 incomplete passes. They pushed the ball down the field. I feel like they controlled the narrative for the whole game versus Mississippi State. Talk about momentum here and getting burned in the past. I understand, but I think Florida has at least got the high side here in terms of momentum, to where I think that they could come out and be the winners here at home. Give me Florida money line.
Yeah, I get burned by Florida way too much. I keep choosing them in these spots. Chose them, I think, the Miami game, chose them the Texas Tech or Texas A&M game, maybe. I'm doing it again. This is a simple, just algorithm play for me. I look at Florida. Florida has, although their defense has been horrendous this year, and they've been really bad against the run at that, they at least got those SEC bodies on that side. They can push some people around against an inferior UCF team, which the most surprising thing about the Colorado game last week was not like, oh, Travis Hunter went off, Shador Sanders went off, and it was just this offensive like shootout. It was that Colorado just bullied them. Like on defense, they were throwing guys around. On offense, they were able to like talk about something Colorado has not been able to do ever is establish the run. Like, they established the run game versus this UCF front, and that scares me versus, like, although Florida is not the best, they got some SEC guys still there that can still have some fight in them. That worries me in a hostile environment that I think, at least if you're a Florida fan, if you lose this is like the ultimate, like, you fire Billy Napier after this. Like, you can't allow the upstart program in your state to come into your home turf and just beat you outright. Especially after what we saw last week. This UCF team, I can't get. I honestly have a better read on Florida than this UCF team. KJ Jefferson, I know, sucks, but I thought that run scheme that Gus Malzahn puts into place would make them competitive in just about every game, slow the games down enough. And I'm really unimpressed about how inconsistent it's been. KJ Jefferson's kind of the perfect guy to run that for you. Like, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, for UCF fans, what are you going to do now? Like, you kind of had your perfect running quarterback. He can't get it done. Gus Malzahn only wants to run the ball. You lost your 4-star wide receiver recruit because you're not throwing it at all. Like, I just don't know what this UCF team's identity is. I think it's sneaky going to go to hell over the next few years. But just keep an eye on it. But I will take Florida in the money line here. I just think the physicality, what people have preached to me all along, that SEC is just so much bigger, faster, more physical. They should be able to throw them around.
Ty, before you go, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm not being an island boy for this UCF team. Give me the mulligan. I'm going with the Gators.
Oh,
I can't do it. I think both Jameson and Blake laid out so, like, just clearly very compelling points, and I am so out on that. Like,
you have with y'all to do something epic.
No, well, the crazy thing is, when I didn't know if I would be able to make it for the pod, I texted Bobby my picks in case he'd need to read them off. And he knows that I was going to pick UCF.
Oh,
so
no! I did not commit it to memory. I promise. I have not.
So
I have not.
I'm going to write down Ty as UCF, and
but I'm not going to do it now because I was not beholden to those.
No.
And if Blake is fading the shield, then I know that I must not go the other way. So I will also ride with Florida here.
Come on. Oh, that is so weak. If I still had my mulligan, I'd switch back to UCF.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Do you know how upset? I mean, we need to talk Blake into this because I cannot wait until.
Screw it. Use it. I get Shield versus the SEC. We got to prove something.
There's no winning in this situation Blake has just put himself in.
I'm going
to guess.
No.
Can I unmulligan?
No. That would be a second mulligan.
Okay, well,
can we have a pot of greed mulligan?
Could we call it? We'll just call it the Dan Mulligan. At any time, you could go back to Florida if you want. You know. Anyways, yeah, fine, whatever. I'm still on the Gators.
Well, you have no choice, Bobby. You've already used it.
Unlimited mulligans for Florida and Mississippi State, and it's the Dan Mulligan rule.
The Dan Mulligan. Wait, okay, so is Ty on Florida or UCF?
I'm on Florida.
It's on an island.
Blake went. So Blake is now on the island, on UCF Island. Okay, well there you go. Fine. So at one point we had 3 different people potentially on an island for UCF. That's incredible.
Let's prisoner's dilemma here.
The beauty of the weekend spread right here. All right, moving on to our next ball game. It's our good friends, the Tennessee Volunteers, 4th in the country, 4-0 overall, and against the spread. Their first game since beating OU by 50, right? Like they won by 50. Correct? Like Tennessee 50, OU nothing, as far as I'm concerned.
Do it, Bobby.
Anyways, bad joke. Bad joke.
Say something.
I just heard balls by 50, balls by 70. I expected the margin to be like that, right? So anyway, no concerns about Tennessee. They're heading to Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks. 3-2 overall, 4-1 against the spread. Tennessee favored by 14 on the road. You can find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on ABC. Ty, kick us off. Who do you like?
I mean, Tennessee is pretty. I don't understand why this is 14. So I feel like I'm missing something because I am in fact an Arkansas not knower by choice. But yeah, Tennessee minus 14 seems like a very easy, maybe recency bias. People have forgotten because they've had a bye week here and a bunch of other stuff has happened. But yeah, Tennessee minus 14, easy one in this one for me.
I got one thing to say, and it's actually nothing to say. It's only for the YouTube listeners, but you know who's coming out this
look at
weekend? You know who's fighting for his job? Those guys, those three guys.
Explain for the listeners what you showed to the camera right there, Blake, please.
It is Sam Pittman in a very, I don't know if it's a normal fitting shirt or a tight fitting shirt, but it definitely accentuates different parts of his body in a very interesting way. And so I'm on Arkansas. I think they're bound to have one game this year that they just create chaos. I'm not saying win, but I say get close to beating like a good team just because Taylor Green is the ultimate X factor. That offensive line for Arkansas cannot block worth crap. Like I was watching that Arkansas talk about the worst duo games. I was at the hotel I was at, and I could only use like the little previous, so I could only load up 2 games basically. I had OU Auburn and Texas A&M Arkansas, 2 carbon copies of just gross SEC games looking more like Big Ten. But Taylor Green has no time back there. But I feel like in Tennessee, as I've learned, has a very, very, very good defensive line. But there's just something about this. 2 touchdowns on the road after you're really riding a high of beating an ranked OU on the road. I don't know. This one feels a little fishy to me. I have Taylor Green having a standout game, keeping this one close. Tennessee ultimately winning, but yeah, I don't think this 14 points is as easy as people think.
This ain't fishy at all, Blake. That's just a bad take. That's a ball not knower. You explicitly said in your argument that Arkansas has a bad offensive line and Tennessee has one of the best defense.
Horrendous.
They have one of the best defensive line. I don't care if Taylor Green can go out and make things happen. He's not going to have any time, and he's just going to get clobbered. This Arkansas offense has not been nearly as good as we thought it was after the 3 quarters that they showed versus Oklahoma State. They just haven't really shown it as much. I love Jaquindon Jackson. I love Taylor Green. I think they have it. But the offensive line is not giving him any time for protection. And I think Tennessee could absolutely run away with this in the first half and be up, 24-3. And you're going to be like, what have I just done? I think this is the easiest pick of the week.
Yeah, Jameson. I mean, here's the thing. You and I both love picking Arkansas. I certainly have enjoyed. Yeah, I know. Those piggies, first against OSU, they were right there. You had that half point, lost by a half point, almost there. Pumped them up a little bit. Then you had them against A&M in a game that's usually pretty close. Another half point miss. It's looking mighty plump. I don't know. They're eventually going to hit, right? Not this week. I'm tired of getting burnt. I'm stepping away from the rich little piggies. Tennessee is a significantly better team here. Like you said, Jameson, the defensive line is genuinely one of the best in the country. I think one of the probably the best OU is going to play all season by far. There's a chance this Tennessee team is the best team OU has faced or will face this season. I think there's a chance.
I don't know about that.
I think there is a chance Tennessee ends up better than Alabama or Texas. I think they're better than Texas. We'll get into that in the upcoming week. I'm all in on the Vols here. I think what we saw at OU really, I think that was a closer game than people thought. I really didn't think that was. I think OU had a good showing there. And I think this Tennessee team is actually pretty damn good. So I'm going to go with the Vols to cover 14 on the road on the road. So give me, I can't remember the name of Arkansas Stadium. It is just nothing but Walmart up there thinking about them. So going with the Vols minus 14, that's the play.
Blake thinks that Sam Pittman's little piggies are about to pop this weekend.
Sam
Pittman's little piggies are not about to pop.
I'm just telling you, like, there's no reason for it, but it seems a little too easy. It seems a little too easy, and Arkansas always has that one random game where they're actually a little bit feisty, and it's usually at home. So
Tennessee's going to somehow win by 15. Well, like just
that's just 2-point
barely.
conversion at the end.
They will somehow invent a half of a point for you to lose by. Anyways, moving on to our next game, we've got interesting Big 12 matchup. You know, it's kind of top of the conference at the moment. The Texas Tech Red Raiders 4-1 overall, 3-2 against the spread, heading to Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats for their first home Big 12 tilt. Arizona's 3-1 and 1-3 against the spread after a very impressive win against Utah Utes last week at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Arizona favored by 6. You can find this one 10 p.m. Central on Fox. And look, I mentioned in the preamble, like, Tech is 2-0 in Big 12. So maybe you might be a little bit optimistic about them. They played two of the worst teams in the conference. And I believe both of those games were at home at Jones AT&T Stadium. I think they're about to get completely demolished. Arizona showed a lot of heart last week when they came out after a bye week, after getting completely humiliated against Kansas State, and beating a pretty solid Utah team in, I think, significant fashion. I think Arizona here, they're the better team. Noah Fafita, Tetaroa, McMillan, they let this thing loose and put up some points against Texas Tech. So give me the Wildcats to cover 6.
Yeah, here's the thing. I watched the Texas Tech Abilene Christian game at the beginning of the season. I watched it all the way through on one of my 3 TVs. And let me tell you something. My God, this Texas Tech defense, guys, is absolutely pitiful. Pitiful.
Horrendous.
It's really, really, really bad. So what makes me think that Texas Tech can go on the road and play against Arizona here? I'm going to be honest. We thought Arizona's offense was going to be electric this year. I've been really disappointed with it. Fafita really hasn't shown up like we thought he was going to. But man, if there's a time for Fafita to go look back and say, I can get T-Mac a 3-touchdown game for 150 yards, it's this one versus Texas Tech defense. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a shootout. But I think Arizona comes out on top over 6. So give me Arizona -6.
Yeah, I'm not going to go contrarian here. This Texas Tech team, the good thing is the fans seem to be having a somewhat mild approach to how their season is going. Like, I feel like typically if a Texas Tech team starts off 2-0 at the beginning of the season, they're talking about Big 12 championship, but they've been having mid-offs versus whoever they've been playing. Cincinnati last week, Brandon Sorsby looked like a god out there throwing it against them, and then Arizona State kept it close. I think Arizona State's actually like pretty solid, well coached, but Jameson said it perfectly. This defense can't stop anything. Like, Cincinnati is going to be feisty, but allowing 555 yards from a Cincinnati team that has a bottom of the barrel Big 12 quarterback in Sorsby to throw for like over 400. Fafita is going to have himself a time here. Like, he doesn't even need Tetaroa McMillan. Like, he's going to have himself a time here. And if it gets in a shootout, this late late game, 10 p.m. Central, I just pray. I just pray Arizona wins. Like, this is also just a biased pick for me. But yeah, it's Arizona impressed me with Utah. Wouldn't let Utah bullying them around last week, even though they don't have Cam Rising, which just further proves my point that Utah is like only based around Cam Rising and can't actually win games. Besides that, like they always think that their physical brand of football, their defense, everything else can show up. No, you have a good quarterback. Your good quarterback doesn't play. You can't do crap. It makes me very happy. But give me Arizona. I like Arizona football. I hate Arizona basketball, but I kind of like them. So.
I heard Kirk Ariza is out there doing some things right now.
Where is it? Does he still have more eligibility? He probably does somehow. Like, on some like loophole. Like, Arizona basketball sucks.
He plays in Estonia right now.
Good. Send him farther east. Like, Jesus. But yeah, I'll put
Actually,
aside
wait
that.
a second. Hold on. Park the bus. Is he playing for Kentucky?
Okay, are we
There's
talking
no
about
way.
basketball? It is way too
Blake,
early in
he
the month
plays
of
for
October.
Kentucky. He
No
actually,
way.
I think he's just an Estonian. I think he's on Kentucky's
Yeah,
team
he
as a
is.
graduate transfer right now.
Damn it.
Oh,
Oh,
all
Bobby,
right,
you
sorry.
got to go to that OU Kentucky game now. So
Oh God. Okay. All right, Ty. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, I like Arizona. I think if I recall correctly, I've been burned once before picking them on the weekend spread, but I like them to sort of again 1-3 against the spread. But we're going to get closer to averages on these, so I like where we're going with this, and I like that it is -6 right now. I could see this one bumping up to a 6.5 or even a 7 by game time. So go ahead and lock me in for Wildcats -6 for sure.
Yeah, love the under a touchdown lines always. Those are fun, especially if you got the minus side. Moving on to our next game. It's a big one. I think this is a big one in the SEC, honestly. It should be a ranked matchup, but for some reason, nobody cares about the South Carolina Gamecocks, who are 3-1 overall and against the spread, who are hosting the 4-1 Ole Miss Rebels. 4-1 against the spread as well, ranked 12th in the country after a confounding loss to Kentucky last week at home. I don't know about that one, guys. Ole Miss, though, favored by 9 on the road. You can find this one 2:30 p.m. Central on ESPN. Ty, who do you like in the ball game?
Yeah, South Carolina has far exceeded expectations this year. Great performance at home against LSU on game day, and Ole Miss. Some people would say got exposed last week. If you are an SEC knower or an Ole Miss knower, you know that they're just never going to change. They're always going to be fitting their role within the SEC, and dumping an inexplicable game was part of that. So I'm not surprised at all, but that is not going to cause me to shy away whatsoever from Ole Miss -9. I feel like dropping that game to Kentucky has actually made this a reasonable line. I think had they blown out Kentucky like a lot of people expected, this would have been a very unreasonable line. And I think anything, -9, -10, maybe 8.5 is a very, very, very good pick for this game with an excellent South Carolina team. But I think Ole Miss comes back, bounces back, puts one together on the road well, and I think they win by 10. So
I love how Bobby prefaced this game with some sort of polling ranking bias against an SEC team. That is the first I've ever heard it, that, oh, South Carolina should be ranked. Talk about the conference that gives the most generous rankings known to man. Ole Miss still being ranked after they face a somewhat legitimate competition and just came out flat. Give me
You
a
think they're
break
not
here.
supposed to be ranked right now, Ole Miss?
No! Who have they played? Who have they played?
You think they should drop out of the top 25?
Yes, eventually you got to reach to the point where you have to do the resume and not just your preseason perception of a team. We have arrived there. They do not deserve to be ranked right now when you come out and play Furman, Middle Tennessee State, Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern as your first four games.
You want to overreact to one big loss or one big win, so we should.
Yes,
Okay.
we have 5
In-
data points.
in-
We have 5 data points.
in
What about-
Blake's
What about
defense,
what about NIU and the top 25? And then
I
losing
was
to NC
against
State?
that. That was dumb.
Exactly.
That was
So that
dumb.
is a
In-
one big win, and they should be right in the top 25. One big loss, they should be out of the top 25.
but in Blake's defense, any other team that wasn't a preseason like top 10 or 5 would be unranked right now with Ole
If
Miss's
TCU
schedule.
rattled off this schedule with 4 wins and then the first 4 wins against really bad teams, like Ole Miss, there's no questionable really bad teams, and then the first legitimate competition they lost at home. You are
Yeah.
flying out of those rankings.
Yeah, because they're not Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they don't have-
that's
they don't
that's
have-
the thing. You're using that is the crux of my argument here, is that your preseason bias of Ole Miss has
They have
allowed you
Jackson
to
Dart.
keep them there whenever they came out really flat against competition.
Okay.
And you know what I say to that? I am taking South Carolina plus the 9. I know they have a lot of key injuries, I feel like, around around their program. That's a little concerning. Do we know if Lenore Sellers is going to play?
At the top of my
No,
head.
don't
Questionable.
look at me. I
Okay.
don't know. Wait, it's a Wednesday. You never know with these players.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, they're all
They're listed. They're
questionable. It's
listed as
the
questionable on
classic
their injury,
cues.
and also the Rocket Sanders is questionable.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's a lot of cues around it, but you know what? I believe in Cocktober. So give me some South Carolina. Keep it close at home. Yeah, this I'm tired of this Ole Miss getting propped up because of winning the headlines in June and July, but not actually performing on the field ever.
I mean that's fair. I understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna disagree because I think, like Ty said, Ole Miss just toys around and they just screw up. And once they're going to kick it right back into the gear. And now that they lost last game, the Ole Miss way and the Lane Kiffin way is if it's a close game, they're going to put their foot on their neck and they're going to just absolutely bolster up their score in the fourth quarter. This South Carolina team's got a great defense. They got a great defensive line. They could give Ole Miss troubles. But if it's 3 points and Ole Miss got the ball and they're driving with 2 minutes left to go, I bet you they go score and touchdown, backdoor cover it. Ole Miss doesn't care. I think Ole Miss can get this and take it away late in the fourth quarter and really piss off some folks.
That the 9 is so dirty. The 9 points is dirty as hell, and I like the Gamecocks a lot. I've been waffling on this all day long, honestly, because Carolina at home, you know, Williams-Brice Stadium is a great environment, but I don't know. I mean, that scenario Jameson laid out is exactly going to play out. I feel like I think Ole Miss. It's hard to tell because we haven't seen good Ole Miss yet. We've seen them blow out crap teams, but nothing against. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Cox +9 here.
Here we go.
Look at Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss teams on the road. They always underperform in big type environments. They might win sometimes, but I mean, look, I looked at them earlier today. Your biggest road wins are against unranked teams, and I think that like Auburn, like you scrape out a 7-point win against Auburn. You beat a team at Kroger Field or whatever. They couldn't even do that. Like they couldn't even beat Kentucky at home. I just think Ole Miss on the road just does not. They don't operate very well. And I think they keep this. I think South Carolina does enough to keep this thing close. I think they are a well-coached team. You got to give it up to Shane Beamer. I think he's done a really good job of motivating these guys, keeping them together after that. Just kind of rocky start and everything with Old Dominion. And I don't know. I think they're going to come out fired up and keep this thing close. Not sure if they win straight up, but I like Ole Miss to not be very good on the road, as is tradition. So, all right, moving on to our next ball game. We've got the West Virginia Mountaineers, 2-2 overall, 1-3 against the spread. They're heading to Stillwater to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who are on a 2-game losing streak. They're 3-2 overall, 2-3 against the spread. Pokes favored by 3.5 here. You can find this one 3 p.m. Central on ESPN2. This OSU team clearly is not very good. Like, the loss to K-State was completely non-competitive. That Utah team, pretty much dominated that game front to back. And just let it go at the end. Pretty much the same Utah team that got blown out at home to Arizona. And this is a position where you fade OSU, especially, getting that half point. But I know Mike Gundy better than that. I know he finds a way to weasel his way out of situations. And this just feels like a typical Mike Gundy weasel win. I don't think he allows this winning streak to get to 3. Or the losing streak to get to 3. I'm going to go Oklahoma State -3.5 here. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a good game. Neil Brown, also having his own issues, the issues of his own. But ultimately, I think OSU in a gotta have it situation figures it out and gets the win and the cover.
Yeah, I think so too. This West Virginia team also, Like, I really was hoping for a little bit more from them. And I don't know if I'm just biased since that Pittsburgh loss and the way that game ended. It just makes me feel icky. And you're like, oh, they had a good one versus Kansas. Kansas is like a sham. They're an absolute sham. So I really don't have a definitive opinion on West Virginia other than my recency bias from that Pittsburgh game. And like you said, Bobby, Oklahoma State just finds ways to be dirty. And they've shown some like things like other than like, the duds that they put up versus Kansas State and then that Utah. They've shown some things this season where I'm like, okay, even with Ollie Gordon not really running it, like they can still like use Brenton Thompson. Oh my God, I almost said Brenton Thompson. Braylon Presley. Or is it Brennan Presley?
It's Brennan Presley.
Oh my God, I'm out of it.
Yeah.
Brennan
Presley's good.
Yeah. I almost said Brennan Thompson. Then I went to Braylon Presley. Whatever. Screw it. Presley. That where they can at least like attack the offense. I think the home crowd in Oklahoma State gets them out of this funk and give me a 3.5 point cover.
Yeah, I think West Virginia puts them in the gates of hell. I get the bounce back with Gundy. You feel like he's a better coach than that, but teams are beating up on them the same way each week, and it's what West Virginia excels at. Arkansas ran the ball all over them, almost won that game, like probably should have won that game if not for like horrible coaching there. Utah, without Cam Rising, went in there. We saw what they did last week. Arizona's a shell of themselves a little bit, and we're still able to handily pretty much beat them. Utah came in there, ran the ball all over them. And then last week, K-State putting up 300 yards on them against the ground. This defense legitimately cannot stop a nosebleed. They cannot run the ball because I feel like this OSU offensive line is just getting so much hype from how old they are, but they're not actually talented. We've known this for all along. They don't have a good quarterback. I don't care if you put Alan Bowman out there. Don't care if Garrett Rangel comes in to try to like save him. They're both bad. They're both really bad. OSU could win this game, but if you're giving me 3.5 points against a West Virginia team that just they love this. Like they love this matchup off a bye to just run the ball, getting CJ Donaldson going, getting Garrett Green going in the running game. This could be bad. Like this could be bad. This is not the team if you're OSU that you want to face the next week, a lower level Big 12 team, but one that seems to be able to hit on your weaknesses. This one's scary. This one's scary for Mike Gundy, I think. Give me West Virginia plus 3.5.
This one is so tough because I have two very compelling arguments here that I do love Bobby's, Mike Gundy just finds a way, though. It's always inexplicable, too. It's when you least expect it, he will weasel out of it somehow. And especially at home, I just don't know. Blake had a compelling argument, but at the same time, he did mention that Arkansas team that he just thought would be good against Tennessee lost to this Oklahoma State team. So I really don't know really what Blake was saying. I don't think he knew what he was saying. So with that being said, though, I like West Virginia in this one a lot. Now that I had time to think about it, go ahead and give me the Mountaineers plus 3.5. I don't like it.
It should be noted that since we've locked the lines in, this line is shifted to OSU -3. So the public is betting down West Virginia. Moving on to our final normally selected game of the week. It's the number 9 Missouri Tigers, 4-0 overall, 2-2 against the spread, heading to Kyle Field to take on the Texas A&M Aggies, 25th in the country, 4-1 overall, 1-4 against the spread. That is worse than I thought. A&M favored by 2.5 here. Find this one 11 a.m. Central on ABC. Ty, who do you like in this one?
I don't like this. I don't like picking this one. This will probably most certainly be one that I watch, but I do not like picking this one whatsoever. It's at A&M. Everything is telling me that Missouri is the smart pick, but I don't like them. And I think they're just a house of cards waiting to fall at this point. I hate this one so much. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to ride with my initial intuition, which was Missouri plus 2.5.
Yeah. Another kind of easier one on the slate, I think, for me. I'm feeling A&M. I've seen this formula before against Mizzou time and time again this year. We saw it with Diego Pavia. We saw it with Thomas Castellanos in Boston College. They can't contain these running quarterbacks. The only thing I guess I have to be concerned about here is Marcel Reed isn't the starter, but why would you not go with the hot hand that seems to be giving you some offense? It is a little worrisome that A&M, like they came out guns blazing in that first quarter, felt like they were able to move the ball, tightened up late. Marcel Reed really can't throw the ball. That is not his specialty. And if they cannot establish the run, like A&M's going to get cooked pretty quickly. But I felt very confident in how they were able to stop Arkansas's run game last week. Never let them really they only let them take the lead, I think, a little bit late, and then immediately went down and scored. And I don't know, I just feel like Mizzou feels like a not no pun intended here, but a paper tiger. It's Brady Cook, I think, is a pretty good quarterback, not fantastic. I don't think this defense is particularly I don't think they're going to be solid against good competition. And I've been really kind of disappointed this year with Luther Burden. Going into the season, all I heard was he was going to be by far the best receiver in the entire NCAA, if not the SEC. And Theo Weiss is leading the team. Damn. So I just there's a lot of question marks about this Missouri team. It feels like last week's Ole Miss team a little bit to me. I just think A&M, that home crowd running quarterback, I think with a spectacular A&M defense, I think just gives them the edge here.
Ty, what do they say about wide receiver 1? Sometimes it's better to be the wide receiver 2.
We're just gonna have to say it. If Theo Weiss is your wide receiver 1, you don't have a wide receiver 1. That's like OU's situation where we have Brendan Thompson as our wide receiver 1 right now, when he should be not playing football at the University of Oklahoma. But
I don't know. Could be JJ Hester now. Oh God, that was gross.
Hey,
Jesus, y'all are down bad.
We cannot slander him after he scored just a crucial touchdown. So this is a JJ Hester slander free week. He
JJ
gets
Hester
a week
didn't have
off.
a touchdown.
Yeah, he did.
What?
He had. What are you talking about? JJ Hester did have. He had the touchdown, the 60-yard pass from.
Yeah, that's got stopped at the 4-yard line.
Oh, that was not a touchdown, was it? Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah, no, I forgot he did.
Ball knower on ball not knower violence. I love to see it.
Well, I think Blake
he didn't house
call
that,
me
did
a ball
he?
knower for a half second there.
No, I thought he housed that thing.
No,
Okay. Anyways, Jameson, talk while
Bobby's cover is slipping.
Yeah, because I'm pretty
He
sure
knew all about the status of Mike Gundy.
Did we give it to Javante Barnes on the second and goal on that one?
That was a 2-point conversion, I thought.
Bobby's handler.
Oh, Lord.
The 2-point conversion was Michael Hawkins flew in. And
nope. Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. No. That's right. You stopped.
Blake,
you stopped short.
This dude doubled down, and then I gave him play-by-play. Call me a ball knower. Call him a ball not knower. Please.
I just forgot. It was a big conversion. It was a big conversion
meme right now.
What do you mean? I'm dominating him. I'm pounding him into the ground. Ball not knower Blake does not believe in this Missouri offense. He does know a little bit of ball to not believe in their defense. But this Texas A&M offense, while looking good in sometimes, but the vast majority, it's look a little stagnant and a little bit concerning to where I feel like you got to have a little bit of oomph to your office to keep up with this Missouri team, even when you got Texas A&M's defense. Diego Pavia for Vanderbilt can do that, Blake. I don't know if Texas A&M's offense can do that. Give me Missouri upset.
Well, here's my thing with Mizzou. I've thought they were going to be a fraud the entire season, and I've been kind of waiting on it to happen a little bit. And I don't know. It's one of those where I kind of thought they'd get exposed against Texas A&M or Alabama or Oklahoma, the 3 tough teams on their schedule. But Vanderbilt and Boston College have shown up and done it early for me. So this makes this really, really easy because I know for a fact I was right to start the season that Missouri is a fraud. And I think A&M wins at home. 2.5 feels really comfy to me. This Aggie team hasn't been spectacular by any means, but to me, the defense is suspect. It's really young. I think Brady Cook limits that offense in terms of what it can be with that stable of, just great, not great, but like solid wide receivers, especially Burton, who's great, but just hasn't been able to break free, or whatever the hell he's doing. I just think this Missouri team, this is, if people haven't been watching the scores, this is when any thought of them being a college football playoff team should just be wiped from your mind, because they need this one. They need to beat either Oklahoma. They need to beat Oklahoma and Texas A&M, because they damn sure aren't beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So if they want any shot at achieving an SEC championship game or a college football playoff, they got to win this one. They're not going to, because they're frauds. So give me Texas A&M -2.5 here.
I hate to say this, Bobby, but whenever you say they've got to beat Oklahoma, I don't even think Oklahoma football team has the respect to say they've got to beat them.
Yeah.
Is that wild to say?
I think I know there's a little number next to their name, but the Vegas is more on the money about what this OU team is right now.
I'm gonna hit the
Why are the brakes working? Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What? Oh, guys, I can't stop this man!
Anyways, let's stop whatever that conversation was and discuss our favorite pick of the week. It's a wild card. Look, it's y'all's favorite. It's not my favorite pick of the week. I'm 0-5. It's awful, horrible, just tremendously down bad, man. It's awful. Everything I touch turns to hell. Miami let me down. It's tremendously bad, folks. But you know what? I get to kick this thing off, and I'm gonna go with a guy who, I think Blake has done a good job picking him. I think he has been very solid, and I'm gonna go with Sig. We're gonna go. We're gonna go with
the wheels are gonna fall off this week.
I know.
They're gonna fall off.
I might have just kissed to death. I might have just kissed to death poor Indiana, but
damn it, leave them alone.
Look, if this happens, I truly am cursed, because they're going to Northwestern. They're favored by 14. They're not even playing at a real stadium. I think the Hoosiers have been they've been rolling. They've been solid. I don't think Vegas or the betting public has caught on just yet. Maybe, I don't know what's up with the line.
They got on this week.
14 feels good. I think the Hoosiers are going to cover 14. So hopefully win one of the season comes with Indiana on the banks of Old Lake, Michigan. So Indiana -14 is the play. This Northwestern team's just kind of all right.
Is it my turn? I've still been scrolling back and forth because I keep not wanting to pick any of these games. Thought about maybe I'd pick against Bobby just for funsies, but I hate Northwestern with so much passion. There's no way I can watch that team. I hate them. I hate them so much. So I'm just trying to look and trying to find the dirtiest of dirty picks that I can. How should I go? I got one that's medium dirty, and I got one that's very, very high end dirty. I don't know if I can do the high end dirty one, but I might do
the high end dirty.
Well, you can't pick them both because you lost your pot of greed.
I know. Well, I don't want to pick both. I'm just picking a game because I think it's extremely dirty, and I'm not going to have any analysis here. It's just going to be for the vibes. So you guys want the dirtiest or the medium dirty?
No, the dirtiest. If you're going to vibe
go
pick,
full
it's got to
dirty.
be full
Give
dirty.
me Louisiana Monroe +17 at home versus James Madison.
Hey, they're well coached. ULM has been impressive this year under General Booty. And
General Booty isn't even playing, man.
Oh, is he not?
17
Yeah.
at home.
He had
General
the
Booty
catch.
got benched. He got benched last game.
No, I saw that cool highlight where he caught the
He was
ball.
1 of
after it hit a
4 for
defender.
8 yards and had an interception last game.
Oh, dang it.
So I've got ULM +17 versus James Madison.
God, James Madison's rolling too right now. You might be. The good thing is that game will be over quick if it is over, and you'll know it.
I'm just legitimately, I scroll, I'm like, I don't have any football prowess here. I just want to pick something that just feels really nasty and see what happens. I don't know. Makes it fun that way. ULM.
Okay, I'm gonna go another little dirty weeknight special. It's a little situational play here for me, but I am going to go UTEP plus the 10
Oh,
versus Sam
no.
Houston.
Oh,
And
no. Oh, man. I've got analysis on
this
one.
is another pure vibes play, but
It's the helmets.
it's the so we could start there. The helmets, the El Chuco helmets, look fantastic. Those uniforms look snazzy. I am so ready to see those on the field. And you look at this game, UTEP has been abysmal. There's no way. I was trying to dig into the stats, find a little statistical edge. There is none. They've been horrendous this entire year. They lost to, I believe, a Southern Utah team, an FCS team, and they're not even one of the good ones at that. But you give them a week's rest versus a team like Sam Houston that just came off of a big-time comeback win versus Texas State in a neutral site at NRG. I think they got a little too excited about that game, and I think they're going to UTEP's going to catch them sleeping. I'm going to be hitting this personally, plus 6.5 first half, plus the 10 full game. I think they really catch them off guard and keep this one close. The El Chuco helmets, though, they cannot come out and have a stinker in those things. They look too good. So give me the minor nation rise up.
This team just lost to Colorado State.
Bad too. And like but future Mountain West team.
They lost to Southern Utah.
Yeah, I said that. Not even a good FCS team.
Houston State. I watched that game in full on the my little laptop next to whenever I was watching the OU Auburn game. I paid attention to it way too closely. That defense is feisty, man. And they got a good running quarterback and running back combo. I don't know, man. That's a bad pick.
Wait, Jameson, you have 3 TVs and you're still having other games.
I was in Oklahoma.
I
wasn't at home.
Okay,
I was
fair
at home. I didn't have access to the 3 TVs.
You didn't have the doctor setup going. That's all good. That's fine. We make do with what we can, Jameson, don't we? Ty, who do you like in this one?
Oh, there is such an easy game for me to pick this weekend on my wild card. And it's the one take that preseason people just did not understand. It's a take that I've been screaming at people for years to pay attention, and no one pays attention. Everyone believes in this. I don't want to say I'm tying my fate to Dabo, but this anti-Dabo talking point that he was wrong about none other than DJU. He was not wrong about DJU, as I was not wrong about DJU. He takes teams and he makes them worse. And in his final year of college football, he's put on an absolute masterclass of taking a team that was undefeated in the regular season and making them just horrendous. And now DJU gets his chance for revenge. That's actually just going to be him getting humiliated by Clemson, who is minus 14.5 favorites going down to Florida State. I don't know anything about Clemson. I don't really know all that much about Florida State, but I just know that DJU is not good, and you will never lose fading him. So go ahead and give me Clemson minus 14.5.
I want to call.
All three of us.
Wait, I want to call in the resident doctor here to give a little injury report.
I don't. If he's not playing, that's fine.
DJU is not going to be starting this game.
It is Brock Lynn.
Of course he's not. He's out with cowardice, I'm assuming.
I was like, maybe he's going to actually pick Florida State here, where no DJU.
I've been tremendously busy. I've not followed. I did not. Hopefully he's okay. I don't want to make a joke of whatever this injury is, but
no,
I'll make the joke. I'll make
he's
the
just
joke.
faking. He's just faking something like that Williams guy from Kansas always does.
He broke his finger.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Oh.
no. What is DJU?
Like in
I
his
feel bad.
apartment, like he just looked at the schedule and then he just had his finger on the counter. I was
The
like,
good
I
old
have
classic
to do it.
slam the chair, punch the wall, broken finger.
Yeah.
Severe
Yeah.
paper cut.
Or he
I
just
feel bad
showed up
when-
with his finger in a cast.
I feel bad when players get injuries and they have a future and they're trying to improve their draft stock, but we know what DJU's future is on this podcast, so
Oh my god!
it is set in
Ty, you still
stone.
feel
Well,
good even with the
No,
backup quarterback for Florida
let me
State?
amend my take. Let me amend my take. DJU is so horrendously bad, yet was still the unanimous QB1 up until he was injured.
There we go.
Absolutely give me Clemson minus 14.5. You're telling me there's someone that's worse? They're going to cart him out there? It might be Jackson Arnold.
Emergency
What
like
happens
mid-season
if the
transfer.
if the NIL monies was the only thing keeping DJU in, and now they brought in
I don't
Brock Lynn?
I do not get the NIL money keeping them in at that point. He's only
That
there.
doesn't make sense.
It's only
the
there
money's
for a
already
year.
lost.
Like,
yeah,
just sink your loss and
you've already paid him the money either way.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
cash your
know.
checks. You know.
I feel
That's
like Jackson Arnold.
That's like a no press
Dude,
is bad press.
Dude, sunken
situation.
cost fallacy is a super strong thing.
Not for UNLV,
Yeah.
baby.
Well, I mean,
All right.
I
All right.
think they
Well,
need-
that's all we
Oh, but-
have. Go ahead, guys.
Don't you all
got it.
see Jackson Arnold in that nice deep red and gold next year? I could see that happening. Florida State being dumb enough to rolling out the big checks to be like, we got a young guy, not a 1-year rental, but a young guy. I could see it happening.
I think SMU. That's my guess.
Oh Jesus!
Well, okay.
But
What year
Kevin
is that
Jennings a
quarter?
senior? Kevin Jennings.
I don't know.
he's-
Surely not, right? Is he? I don't know enough about SMU. Because he's clearly the right guy. Like, you don't want to mess up that chemistry of.
I don't know. SMU's done it before.
redshirt freshman. Yeah, he's gonna be.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna be. Yeah.
Wait a
Like,
second.
they
Especially
look
if they win this
significantly
weekend.
better. Like, it's crazy how much better SMU looks with
Ooh.
Jennings. Fine. So
I had a momentary panic when I forgot that we had already played 5 games, and I thought DJU had worked up some sort of medical redshirt play. I summon 1 additional year of eligibility from my deck.
Oh my god. I really wish Bobby was gonna pick an absolute ball not knower game so I could have just faded it. I was so ready to do that. Oh, that's
Well,
such a shame.
psych-
I don't know. He might have ruined the best thing going in college football right now, and I'm gonna be pissed.
Well, I also Island Boyd Cal, so I might be going with screwing up
Bobby,
both of the two. And I killed Cal earlier this season too. I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I picked him on a wild card against FSU. So
Bobby, your
Damn
only
it.
play at this point on the wild card is to just constantly pick Boko and jinx them until Jameson starts to offer you stuff to not do it.
I did think about picking them. They're playing Troy, who looks like absolute dog water this year. I thought
that's how they
about
get
going
you.
back.
Oh,
That's how they get you. You hit them
I
That's
know.
once.
you.
You hit them once, and then you don't touch them again for the rest of the season.
I don't
Jameson.
understand what happened.
3
to-
seasons in a row. You're
Well,
gonna have to
I'll
learn
tell
this
you what
lesson.
happened, my brother. GJ Kinney's offense is a little first half merchant over there. They like to do some razzle dazzle in the beginning, and the defenses catch up, and they're like, "Oh, none of these plays are working," and they have to pivot, and they don't know how to pivot. That is what's going to happen. So if Troy goes down early, I'm going to be slapping the living crap out of them tomorrow as they make their comeback towards Texas State, because I know what to know. I know Texas State doesn't have the dog in them to actually play 2 halves of football.
Well,
Script
and
merchant.
you boys also forget that Jameson has Texas State over 8.5 wins, so he has like the season-long Boko curse. So
Oh no! Wait, I
That's in
need
Houston
to.
State with so much pain.
Oh, that's.
so
Let me see.
yeah, a
They'll play
reminder
JMU.
on our.
No, they don't.
What?
Oh, thank God for them.
Well, that's good for them. That's good for them. A
God,
reminder
their
on
schedule's
our.
bad.
Not till ULM gives them that ill this weekend.
Well,
God.
a reminder on our win total favorites that are going throughout the season. Jameson has Texas State over 8.5. Blake has SMU under 7.5. Just not looking great right now.
I would have
ahead.
quadrupled down after that BYU game. I would have said the season is
Me too.
over, quadrupled down, and I am now in a situation where I only see the loss this weekend ahead of them. And a lot of these other teams are going to be bad. I'm a little bit worried about that one now. They've kind of figured things out.
No Miami, no Clemson. Beat Florida State so bad
Right.
that they started making fun of them with the sad war chant. Ty has Oregon over 10.5 wins, and I'm riding with OU over 7.5. So
Oh God!
all of us,
Bobby's
all of
actually
us-
sweating one out.
all of us are sweating bullets over here, man. It's
Let me.
I don't think Bobby's
I am.
sweating.
I'm
I think
actually
he's
very
shivering.
upset.
nah. Sooners winning 9 games going to the playoff.
Oh God!
I am so
Bobby-
upset because I almost took Navy, but Navy was a 5.5.
Oh, then
That's
they
like
can,
And they'd
pretty
be
damn
they'd be
good right
one
now.
win away right now from cashing that win total.
and they can throw the ball. That's the wild part. They can throw the ball.
Air Navy.
And they said firing Coach Ken was the wrong move, and unfortunately, although he was great, that looks like that was the right move.
It's funny.
I
All right, guys.
I love
Go
how.
ahead.
Last
Go ahead,
thing,
Blake.
I
I'm
love how
sorry.
Bobby still. I can tell by this podcast we didn't talk any OU ball, but Bobby still has like an underlying belief that this team is actually kind of good. After last week's, like the underlying stats of that game were bad for OU. Like Auburn was actually moving the ball against that defense. They didn't score, which is also an issue, but they moved the ball, which is a little worrisome.
It's not that I think OU's good. It's that I have hope that they're going to figure it out. Which,
Oh God!
you know, defensively, I think they're worn the hell out. If you listen to the Schooner Pod, like that was the third game in 5 games where they were on the field for over 35 minutes, like the defense, which is insane.
I don't know if that really changes against Texas.
Yeah, probably not. But I think,
or maybe it does. Maybe they just score so quickly
They
on y'all.
score so quickly that it's
that the defense
maybe
isn't on there at all.
I don't know. We'll get into the whole preview and all that. I just think they have enough to like. I think they can figure it out now that they know the Hawkins is the guy. I think Hawkins is better, and we'll see how it goes. But we're at 117 here with the show, so I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thank y'all so much for listening. We very much appreciate it. We'll be back next week for week 7, which is truly going to be one of the more special slates we've ever had. Just a cursory look at this thing. I mean, we got Ohio State at Oregon, Penn State at USC, Arizona at BYU, Ole Miss at LSU, Texas, Oklahoma. I feel like, am I missing something? South Carolina at Alabama, Florida, Tennessee. I mean, it just should be a really just incredible slate overall. I mean, some just real heavy hitters all in one week. So, and then obviously Oklahoma, Texas. So it's going to be special. It's going to be really fun. Looking forward to it. But for me, Jameson, Bowden, Blake, and Ty, this has been the Weekend Spread. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Have a good one and good luck out there, everybody.